Right, I'm back out. It's Saturday morning. Before I finish these valves, I thought I'd answer a couple of questions about the machining of them which I received as comments. So firstly, they are stainless. Yes, stainless isn't the easiest material to machine, but treated well, it can machine reasonably well. You need sharp tools, you need to keep the pressure. I tend to use carbide insert tip tools, although I haven't for the parting tool. So I'm going to stick another bit of material in. I'm going to focus in on what I'm doing and show you how I deal with working the material. So first of all, I've set a piece up in the lathe, it's an offcut, and I'm going to show you with the indexable tool taking a pass. I use fluid. It doesn't need it with these tools, but you will find they'll last longer with it, and they're kind of a bit nicer in general. So when I do it, something like this, turning along the length, I'll spin it. While it's spinning, I'll just run a dribble along the outside, so there's some fluid everywhere as the tool works its way along. I'll also put a little dribble on top of the tool so that there's a nice bit always there. There we go. Coming off in nice streams, so it shows it's cutting nicely. Bit of smoke where the oil's burning off, but otherwise that's going to be a nice cut. The more tricky part was when I machined the bit in the middle. I just did it all with a parting tool. So let's just square up the tool slightly. I don't have an indexable head for this, indexable tools, so this was purely done with a high-speed steel tool. First of all, I will show you if I try and use it without any fluid, and then I'll show you using a bit of fluid. Really didn't like it, but if I keep the pressure on, it can cut quite nicely. It's not the nicest material to machine. Stainless is not the nicest material to machine, and parting is probably my least favourite operation on a lathe. It puts a lot of strain on the tool, but that shows you that it is possible. So, on to what we were doing and finishing these valves. So I've just finished machining the valves to size, and I've just realised I didn't actually take any video of it. So I'll just show you the setup. So here's the bobbin sitting between centres. I machined it to size first. I tried it in the bore and it was a touch on the tight side. So what I did is I put it back in the lathe a couple of times, and using a piece of emery cloth over the top of the file, bit of emery cloth over the top of the file, I ran the lathe with the file pushing the emery cloth onto the heads, using a file so that it stayed flat, rather than if I used my thumb I might squeeze it on one end rather than the other. And yeah, I just kept bit of trial and error, used something coarse and then went finer and finer until I was happy with the fit in the bore, which is where I'm at now. Let's go and take a look. So here's this one in the bore. Obviously at this stage it's difficult to get hold of. It doesn't slide perfectly easily, but it will bed in, but it's not too bad. Yeah, good fit that. And once it gets the oil grooves on the outside, we'll be good too. So let's go for that. So as you can see, I've made up a tool to cut fine grooves. So I've put 3 on each head. So I've done one, can do the other. It has left a slight burr, so I will tackle that with a file afterwards. Yeah. So as you can see behind me, I got the engine mostly reassembled. I didn't put the front end back on, but it was in a running condition. I took it to the club today, and sorry I didn't get anything while I was there, but it was less than perfect. It wasn't much different to how it was last week. I think part of it may be that my bobbins just weren't good enough, but it does also raise a question of, are the liners tight and steam tight within the blocks? So what I'm going to try, the bobbins obviously aren't good enough anyway as they are, so they're going to want rings on. But just to be extra certain, what I'm going to do is put the grooves in for the rings, and I'm going to put O-rings in those grooves. So I'll make the grooves suit O-rings. I know O-rings won't last in the bores. They'll be ripped apart going over the ports. However, it will demonstrate short term whether or not it's the valves that are the problem or the liner in the block that's the problem. So that's my next thing. Bobbins out, grooves, O-rings. I won't even bother with high temperature O-rings for the time being. I'll just put whatever I've got in there. It could be that I'll experiment with high temperature O-rings. I don't know yet. If I do, I can't see them lasting that long, and let's face it, it's a pig to get the front end off, so it's not an easy swap. So what I'll do, I'll put O-rings in, try it on air. If it's all good, then I'll work on making decent piston rings out of bronze. So for now, that's where we're going, and I will show you that and catch up with you next time. Just as a brief thing, while I was there today, I did have a drive on Richard's Black 5. Had a lovely afternoon driving it. I didn't get around to taking video. I was having too much fun driving it. And when it was quietening down in the queue, I was going to film it, but then I ended up handing the engine to someone else. So I did take one short video, so I'll finish with that. What it is, it just demonstrates how valves should be, really, and how good valves and pistons should be to be able to really notch it back, regulator open. So what you're going to see in the video coming up is the regulator at fully open and the speed being adjusted on the reverser, which was great. So nice being able to drive an engine like that. But so I hope you enjoy that, and I will catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.